Boom, baby. How we living, man? Back at it. Episode 7. Absolutely in it. Or maybe. I think it is. Pretty sure it's 7. We'll figure it out. Either way, I'm back for more. You're back for more. We're doing it. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know if you're watching this. I'm a big podcast listener. I think that's what being a 34-year-old means, is that you're still, that YouTube's big, and I use YouTube every now and again, but it's like I don't fully get it. It's not like my go-to thing. But if you're watching this on the tube, by all means, good for you, man. You are an evolved human being, changing with the times, baby. Maybe you're watching it on YouTube, on your TV. Hey, I'm on your TV. That feels good. Maybe you're doing a chore right now. I typically listen to them when I'm driving. So if you're listening to this while you're driving, do yourself a favor. Slow down a little bit. You're probably driving too fast. Get off that guy in front of you's bumper. You're good, man. Just get in that right lane, cruise control. Stay nice and easy. Ooh. Feeling good. Been doing lots of driving. That's pretty much how every episode starts off. You know your boy's going to stay driving, man. Yeah, had some good experiences the last week or so. Some real heavy ones, man. We'll talk about some heaviness at some point on this podcast, and it'll be good. But just be forewarned that I am going to talk about that. And trust me, it's a comedy podcast for the most part. But, yeah, I don't know. I've just got some stuff weighing on my mind right now. But we just get right into it. I got a dang sick uncle, man. Uncle Frank. I got a guy who's down. And anybody who's experienced that, which is everybody, that's kind of the weird part about people getting sick, is that it's unfortunately just an inevitability, man. It comes for all, and we're going through it right now. My Uncle Frank, he is my mom's brother, dear Uncle Frank, and he got the cants, baby. He got hit, man. And we're just kind of at the end of it. So that's where I've been. I've been driving back and forth from Nashville to Lexington a lot, which is sad, but then also good. You get to be with the family, and it makes you feel really alive to see somebody who you revere so much kind of at the end of things. It really obviously it bums you out and makes you sad, but if you spin it the way that you should, you've never felt more alive, And getting to talk to him, that's pretty cool. But just quick little breakdown. He got sick a couple years ago, and they gave him 3 to 6 months. He got hit with 3 to 6 months. That was his life expectancy. And that was 2.5 years ago. So we've been playing with house money for a long time with Uncle Frank. He got the old colon cancer, and then it spread to the old liver. And it's been grinding his gears, but he really hasn't, he barely lost his hair. He's still a real fiery dude. He's out there ripping and roaring and killing it. But then the recent development is that it migrated up north to the old noggin. So that's what we're dealing with now. And yeah, it's weird because he was just like, he was an attorney, a lawyer. That was his jam. And he was just a world-class shit talker and very articulate, and he was a writer. And now he's just kind of struggling with that a little bit, and it bums. Less than 1% of colon cancer goes up to the brain, and it went up to his brain. So that's where we are right now. And yeah, we just hope that they went in, they cut it out of him, so hopefully that can return a little bit. But the language system's just a little messed up, and it's really thrown me off my rocker to see a guy like that back on his heels a little bit. He's the first dude to ever hold me. I was in labor for I wasn't in labor. My mother labored with me for 25 hours. My nickname when I was a kid was Hammer, short for Hammerhead, because I was stuck in the birthing canal for so long that my head came out and it was shaped like a ball-peen hammer. So they called me Hammer. And that just shows you, dude, it's crazy, man. They just pretty much grabbed my head and just mushed it around. So I got lucky that I have a decent shaped head. But yeah, so my mom, after 25 hours of labor, they were like, here's your son. And she was like, get him away from me. She was too tired. And I think once my dad, saw what's going on down there, he passed out unconscious. So I popped out, and Frank was the first dude to hold me. And we've got a really special connection. And it's wild. From 18 to 21, I think I've talked about a couple of the instances on here. From 18 to 21, I got in a lot of trouble. I was like wrong place, wrong time, doing the wrong thing, like 4 or 5 times. Little run-ins with the law, peeing where I shouldn't have peed, using a fake ID, drinking when I was too young, all this sort of stuff, maybe having a little bit of paraphernalia on you, and that. So I would call my Uncle Frank, and Frank was an attorney, still is an attorney, a good one down there in Lexington. And this is really encapsulates who he is. I would call him up and tell him that I had gotten in trouble, and then I would go over to his office, and I'd walk in, and he'd say, you know the drill, and I'd give him a $1 bill. And because of that monetary transaction, it enacted client-lawyer confidentiality. So he didn't tell my parents. He legally couldn't tell my parents, and it started plenty of beef between my mom and dad and my uncle. But I'll just never really forget getting to do that with him. It was fun because he enjoyed it too. He enjoyed lying to my mom, aka his big sister. You think he didn't like holding something over his head? But he would just help me out, and we would, I'd get off with community service or whatever, and then once it was all, tied away and with a bow, then I would tell him. But Frank would just really help me out with that, man. First guy to, give me a beer. He was the first adult that I ever knew that acted like a kid. Because when you're a little kid, you just hold these adults in such reverence, and you should respect your elders, Lee Nation. But then you get to whatever 16, 17, 18, and you're looking around and you're like, man, some of these adults don't act like the other adults, and then that's a really exciting thing because you're so scared as a kid. You're like, I don't know how to grow up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And then you find somebody like Frank who, figured it out, raised a family, 4 kids, provided for all of them, while also still just kind of being a little clown, little party guy. He was a dreamer, man. He wrote a bunch of scripts and sold a couple of them out in Hollywood and rubbed shoulders with all the beasts, but then would just come back and, I don't know, raise his family and make enemies and make friends, and he was the man. Dude, one of the community services that I did, it was for a disturbing the peace charge. It's a disturbing the peace charge. I just got a little rowdy at a UK football game, hollered at a cop. I think I told the story on here. With Henry Earl, that one. I ended up getting 50 hours of community service, and I did it at the Boone County Public Library. And, of course, procrastinated. I had 50 hours to come up with. They gave me 3 months. I look up, we're 2 weeks away, 2 weeks away from the deadline before. If I don't do the community service, then this ends up on my record. So I got 2 weeks to get 50 hours of community service, and Frank hooks me up with the Boone County Public Library up in northern Kentucky. And I showed up the first day at the Boone County Public Library, and they didn't want anything to do with me. They thought that I was a weird, creepy convict, right? So they just gave me custodial work. I just went in the adult history section of the Boone County Public Library for the first 2 days of the week. I just went and sprayed down the cover of every book. 10,000 books. Just went and sprayed it down, put it back. Sprayed it down, put it back. I would help organize the Dewey Decimal System or whatever, and it was real grunt work, and none of the little old ladies who worked there looked me in the eye. They didn't give give me any love. And slowly, I was there 7 days in a row. Slowly, I gained more and more trust, made them laugh. I was like, come on, guys, I'm not some bad criminal or whatever. So by the end of it, they had me dressed up as a dragon leading the children's reading circle at the Boone County Public Library. And I was like doing a big old silly dragon voice dressed as a dragon. So I don't know. There's some sort of joke in there about like drag queens reading to kids or something, but I don't know. I dressed up as a dragon and read to kids. So that was pretty fun. I don't know. I just a lot of memories with that guy. Really close with all of his kids, and hopefully by the time this comes out, he is still kicking. We're not too far in advance or anything, but he is just weighing heavy on my mind right now. And Frankie Stubbs, man. Frank Jenkins, you are the man, a.k.a. Stubbs, a.k.a. Frankie, a.k.a. Fank. Seen me do hours of comedy, man. He drove up to Cincinnati from Lexington to see me do comedy. He went on a trip. Recently, I went down and did one of those big old arena shows with Theo and in Lafayette, Louisiana, and Frank came. And that was very recently. Like, he was quite sick, and he came and he got to experience that. And Theo showed him all the kindness in the world, and that was a very special weekend anyway. And now with what's kind of going on now, I'll just really cherish it forever. So I'm going back down there this weekend, or I'm going up, aka north. I'm going to Lexington this weekend, and just gonna hold it down with the family, man. See what's going on with that. But it's weird. Someone gets sick like that, and it just throws everything into perspective, you know? Your problems are way less. Your health is everything. You are a little bit nicer to the people in your life. You would like to think that be the case, you know? It's wild. Everyone on my mom's side of the family is in medicine somehow. So him and all his sisters. He's got 3 sisters, the siblings, the sibs. Once a month, they'd go on a sibling summit, and they'd just get together and talk shit about the kids and talk shit about whatever they were going to do, and they're incredibly close. My mom's a nurse, my Aunt Sally's a nurse, and my Aunt Kelly is a retired radiologist, a.k.a. doctor. So he's got 2 nurses and a doctor that are kind of by his side, and he's in as good a spot as he could possibly be. He's got 4 little kids. They're all in college. Their college is paid for. He killed it. He did a good job. He really did a good job. That's a wild one to open up with, but that's just where my brain is, you know. I went up, and it's funny. It's like someone you love gets sick and is near the end of their life. Everyone's a little bit impaired, and that's what kind of makes being a stand-up such a weird job, is because like if you're having a bad day at work, you still kind of just have to go up in front of a room full of strangers and not be sad. So but it's like the most sobering thing that I could do. So I've been up on stage a couple times in the last few days, and I definitely have not felt very funny, but it's fun to be able to kind of like pull that out of you or whatever. So shout out to old Frankie Stubbs, man. You're my damn boy. Let's see what okay. Here's something that's been on my mind. Malls in the United States. It's over. They're sicker than Frank. They are knocking on death's door just like my dear Uncle Frank, dude. Have you been to a mall recently? It's horrible. It's so sad. Every store, it's not even the kiosks anymore. I'm bad at like the confrontation. You know, you're walking around and like it's always been the case at the mall. You'd go out to the mall, you'd go and look at boobs at Spencer's Gifts. You'd go and touch butt plugs at Spencer's Gifts. It was really just kind of Spencer's Gifts to go and be horny. But then you'd walk around, you'd hit the food court, you'd get Sbarro, you get bourbon chicken, you'd walk around with your friends, you'd flirt with girls, you'd maybe try to hold their hand, whatever it is. The malls was at one point in time, very important part of the American experience. You go to the mall, you go to Sam Goody's, you'd get the new CD, anything like that. It's important. But there's always been the mall kiosk, the one guy, and let's not stereotype Persian, for sure. And you'd be walking by and he'd be like, my brother, let me clean your shoes or spray some perfume on you or whatever. And it was always a little uncomfortable, but you knew where he was in the mall. You knew where that kiosk was. So maybe you would avoid it, or maybe, you'd speed walk when you went by it, or maybe you were in the mood. You're like, I'll talk to this guy, whatever. That one mall at the kiosk now, that's the entire mall now. It's not even kiosks anymore. There are people standing out in front of their stores. They're fully empty stores. And you walk by and they just go, hello, help. They don't say help, but that's what they're saying. It's so uncomfortable, man. And we were walking around, dude, and it's like you come down the corridor in the mall and you see like 5 or 6 kiosks, and each kiosk has 2 people on either side, and they're just full. It's like it's not enjoyable anymore. Not for a guy like me, because I'm not strong enough willed of a person to just look forward and not acknowledge them. Okay. And if you make eye contact and even just show them a glimmer of kindness, then you're hook, line, and sinker in with these guys. So I was walking, and dude, if you're with a girl, it's over. It's over. If you're with a girl, if you're with your girlfriend or your fiance or whoever it is, and you walk by a kiosk that sells makeup or skincare or perfume or whatever it might be, dude, they just come right after your masculinity. They walk by and they're like, oh, what's up, lover boy? How about you get something for your girl? And you're like, no, I can't. I don't know what comes of malls, man. But like, it wasn't like this 5 years ago. So if you superimpose another 5 years, dude, you're going to go to the mall and it's going to be just a straight, it's going to be like homeless people. They're just like panhandling, trying to sell you like whatever, bath salts so that you can float in your bath or something. I don't know what comes of the American mall. There's like a big closed down mall in every city that you can go to. Low key, man, dude, put the homeless people in there. Just, the malls are done. The malls are cooked. There's nothing in there. There's a store out at Opry Mills that just sells hot sauce. Tell me you're a money laundering front without telling me you're a money laundering front. There's no way. It's like $5,000 a month to rent a spot at a mall. So I don't know if they can survive very long. And I think that's where we should, I'm kind of being dead serious that would be a decent solution to the homeless problem in America. It's just, boom, every mall is now homelessville. And you throw them in there, there's bathrooms, there's a food court, maybe keep one of the places open. You got to subsidize it through the government, okay? I'm all for shrinking the government, but what do we do with the homeless people? There you go, put them in there. Put them in a mattress store. There's 80 beds in there, and no one's bought a mattress at the mall. I would say maybe ever. A mattress store at the mall, dude. Has anyone bought a mattress at the mall? There's no way. There's no way you're driving through and you see like a full car, just a full Tesla in the mall. No one's bought it ever. There's a Tesla store at the mall. That is insane to me. Put them all in there. And if you want to put a fence around it, sure. Does that kind of make it seem like a camp? Yeah. But hey, man, at least there's a bed. At least there's a roof and a toilet. I don't know what to do about it because they're dead. Malls are dead. Malls are sad. It is fun to do like a little bit, though. We were, to combat the kiosk panhandling, we were walking around, me and my lady, at the mall yesterday. And every time that we'd come up at a kiosk, we would just act like we were in a huge fight. We would just be talking with our hands and everything. I'd just be like, I'm going to kill myself. And then no one wants to interrupt that. But then, yeah, they kind of do. They really don't care. I just feel so bad for those people, and I always end up talking to them, and I never want to buy anything from them, man. You come up to me in public with a clipboard, congratulations, you've got a sucker. You're going to be able to talk to me. I'm not going to get your service, but you'll at least feel seen. And then in my brain, I'm like, I showed them some respect, I talked to them. And then when I leave, they're just like, that dickhead didn't buy anything. He wasted my time. So maybe the option is just to, I don't know, keep going. Just walk on by, man. It's a twisted world out there at the mall. Makes me sad. God, I had some good memories at the mall, man. One of my first kisses ever was at a mall. First time I ever held a girl's hand was at the mall. You hold a little bit of money when you're a kid and you go out to the mall. First stop, Hollister. Boom, graphic tee. God. Next stop, Claire's. Yeah, you're going to Claire's because that's the only place in town in Lexington, Kentucky that sells puka shells. So gotta go and get me some puka shells. And then if you got anything left over, you go on down to the food court. You get a giant pretzel or you get some Sbarro, whatever it is. But now you go there, it's just sad. I don't know. It just bums me out. And I don't know. I'm not bummed. I feel bummed, but I'm not. I'm really excited about my life. And then it just goes back to someone that you care about being sick. And you're like, dang. That's right. Kind of all comes to an end at some point. You just got to try to make it as good as you can while you can, baby. While you can. Pull a couple pranks. Not to reveal the fourth wall too much, but that Super Bowl is happening soon. Not sure if it's this Monday or the Monday after or Sunday after that or whatever, but I do have an excellent Super Bowl adjacent story. You guys know the meme. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the, God, how do I describe it without being super crass? You know the guy, big African-American gentleman, and he's sitting on a bed kind of like this, and he doesn't have any clothes on, and how do I say this? It's the biggest penis you've ever seen in your entire life. Yeah, well, that has been a meme for a really, really long time. That has been a funny picture for a long time, and I forgot how long ago it was. That picture has been relevant because I guess it was 2013, 2014. I was still in college, and a buddy of mine, Scott Moore, shout out Scott, shout out the G-Spot. The G-Spot, believe it or not, is an Italian restaurant in Lexington. It's not the G-Spot. It's called Giuseppe's, but it's called the G-Spot. I worked there, and he was a good buddy of mine. He's a good friend of our family's. And I got a text from him in 2013 that said, hey, and he sent it to my father and to me. So I didn't think that there was any tomfoolery afoot. And he texted me and my father, and he goes, hey, man, me and my dad were going to go to the Super Bowl, but we can't anymore because of work, and my dad is sick. So I'm selling the tickets. It's not cheap. They're $750 each, but we got them for $1,000 each, and he sends me a link. I, at the time, had no business. I knew I couldn't have done it. I didn't have the money for the ticket, for the airfare, for the hotel. Even in my dumb brain back then, I was 22, 23. I was like, this ain't for me. But you know who would really love this? My girlfriend's dad. So without opening the link, which I buried the lead, a little foreshadowing here. The link didn't lead to Super Bowl tickets. The link led to a picture of a man with the biggest PP you've ever seen in your entire life. This was before you did that. This was in the before times of a crank text or anything. This was at the very beginning of being able to utilize technology as like a prank. So I just immediate say, yo, Scott, thanks for the offer, man. I appreciate it, but I'll just send it around. Copy and paste the message, send it to my then girlfriend's father, who was like a serious guy. Business owner, super Italian dude, a rough guy. Nice guy, but definitely a rough guy. Probably super Catholic, probably not crazy about anything GAY. He's not really into that. I know that for a fact. He's not into that. So I just fired off. I just send it to him. And then I get not a text message back. I get a phone call back. Immediate. So I'm like, oh, dude, this is great. I'm going to hook up my girlfriend's dad with Super Bowl tickets. He's interested. He's going to think I'm so legit. I'm hooking him up with cheap Super Bowl tickets. I get a phone call. And, dude, he was so mad at me. He was so mad at me that, like, it eventually led to us breaking up. He was furious. I'd never heard the man cuss, and I pick up the phone. He's like, what the fuck? He was so pissed. So then I text my boy Scott and my dad in the group, and I go, dude, WTF, man? What did you just do to me? WTF, this is not an LOL moment, man. No one over here is LMAOing. It's the beginning of technology. I was learning all the lingo. And now I went down to the G earlier this week when I was down there doing some Frank stuff, and he recanted that story. And to this day, he laughs so hard that he almost falls on the ground. So he got me good. Scott, we'll clip this out. This is just for you, you absolute rat bastard. You got me good. And Jim, I'm sure, still thinks about it. Probably just burned a hole into his retina. I would venture to say that that's the only black penis that guy's ever seen in his entire life. And I gave him that gift. So maybe actually I don't apologize for it. You're welcome. Now you know what you're working with, dude. Oh, man. We also went out to eat last night out there at the old Opry. Where do we stand on this? Because I was in the service industry for years and years and years. Still kind of am. But I was a server, busboy, expo, host. I did have all of it in the restaurant business. So when I go out to eat, I am still kind of in the mindset of you finish and let's stack. Let's do some stacking. Let's make this bus as efficient as possible. So you got an empty plate, then maybe you put a little plate on top of that. Then you got your little chip basket over here. That's where the trash goes. That's where the napkins go, the straw wrappers, anything like that, that goes. Is it rude or is it polite to do that for a server? Because I guess it kind of depends on like the server's attitude, but I've got both, you know, when you come back and you're like actively trying to help them and they're like, hey man, I appreciate it. And then sometimes they're just like, dude, cut it out. This is my job. You're not helping me. Do you think you're better than me? You need to help the lowly server? And I'm like, no, it's just kind of where my mind's coming from, you know? And I'll do it out in public. I go back and forth. Like, is it corny and cheesy? Like, if I've had enough drinks at a bar, brother, I'm going around and collecting all of the empty glasses and empty beer bottles, and I'm pre-bussing for them. And it's like, I don't know what part of me that is, because it's like what we were talking about last episode with the high beams, you know? Like, am I being polite to actually try to help them, or am I being polite so that they look at me and they're like, that's a nice guy? And I guess it's like a means to an end. Either way, help is being given, but what is my motivation for helping them, you know? I catch that all the time. And if you're being a nice person so that other people categorize you as a nice person, I don't know if that means that you are a nice person or if you just want to be perceived as a nice person. You know what I'm saying? I guess few things in this life are like altruistic. Everything is a little bit transactional or whatever. I've just been thinking about that a lot because I have been described as a nice guy for as long as I can remember. And you go back and forth where you're just like, obviously it's good, but then sometimes, especially in my field, where you want to be called funny, and then someone describes you as like, I've been brought up on stage as like, man, it's like the nicest guy I've ever met in my life. And I'm like, all right, good, but what does that mean? Am I funny or am I nice? Is that good? You know, I guess it's good. I think it's good. I feel pretty decent about myself. I try to be. But, no, I don't know, man. Something is fishy about it. Like, going out into the world and being nice just for the sake of it versus, doing it for a little bit of love coming back on your end. I don't know. I guess, like I said, I mean, either way, help is being given. the motivations, who know if they matter or not. But I don't know. We're just out here trying to be decent. I think if you're 7 sods deep into the Absolute Lee show, God bless you. You know, obviously I'm pretty biased, but I think that means you're a pretty decent guy or girl. Hopefully a girl, man. God, I would love to have some lady listeners, dude. That would be cool. I could get my girl on in here. We could talk about this kind of stuff. Cause the female, sorry. I mean, that word has been completely hijacked. I know a lot of assholes say female when they're talking about females, but like, ain't that the word? What do you want to say, ladies? You know, these these ladies, the lady brain is way different. And like walking in with one, like fully living with one and being like, all right, we're going to be together for a really long time. You definitely start to see the wheels moving and you're like, oh, wow, you're way, way different. So yeah, dude, spread the word. Let's get some ladies on this cast, dude. Trying to figure it out, man. You guys are a little bit softer. And I mean that as a compliment. But, yeah, dude, I hopefully I'll be able to have a pretty decent little Frank update here recently. But I did, and thank you for listening to this. I know it might not be the most uplifting thing you've ever heard, but my boy is down bad, and I just wanted to get it out there into the world. So whatever you do, prayers or vibes or thoughts, whatever you do, please just keep him and his family and my family in those. That would be very useful. You know, you die 2 times. You die when you die, and then you die the last time anybody ever says your name. So I think that could be a good part about podcasts and everything kind of living forever on the phone, is that people do have a bit of a legacy. And, you know, who knows? Frank is a bit of a cockroach, man. He seems pretty hard to kill. So hopefully maybe he'll be on the pod one day. But either way, man, if you got an uncle, if you got an aunt, and you do, mom or dad, cousin, whoever it is, best friend, maybe, you know, your family is all split up or whatever, and it's way easier said than done, and it really comes in clear when someone is about to leave this realm. But give them a call. Tell them that you really care about them. Yeah. The thing that we've been practicing, helping our loved ones die, it's I love you, thank you, I forgive you, please forgive me. Those are the 4 things. And you have that. If you hit all those 4 things in a conversation, then you are touching on everything. You're touching on the good stuff, the bad stuff, the stuff that you don't want to talk about, and some real resolution comes from it. So give someone in your family or someone in your life a call and let them know those things, man. And I love you guys very much. Aiden, I love you. You're the dang man. And we'll see you on episode 8, baby. Take it easy.